I want you to imagine the world like you're in the metaverse, almost like you're in a game, where every challenge your avatar faces transforms into a stepping stone, where adversity isn't a means to an end, but a catalyst for renewal. Now, I know by this time, hearing an opening line like that, you're probably nudging the person beside you and you're scrolling through the program and you're like, are we listening to the right talk? I thought they said by 2, we're supposed to be listening to climate action. But my dear friends, I can assure you we're at the right place, at the right time, discussing the right thing. But if we truly think about it, that is the realm of the rising phoenix, a concept that encapsulates resilience and transformative power. Picture a mythical bird, reborn from its ashes, embodying the indomitable spirit to rise above adversity. It is this strong-minded and strong-willed spirit, my dear friends, that is needed in all of us to really give attention to a challenge that you know and that I know demands our immediate attention: climate change. But let's rewind the clock to a pivotal time in history, the aftermath of World War II. Over the course of the 20th century, within the United States, consumerism and capitalism truly preserved its momentum by molding the ordinary individual into a consumer with an unquenchable thirst for more stuff. And so, of course, soon after the Great War had ended, the industrialized world witnessed a transformative economic shift from looming famine and imminent starvation threats that came with the war to a burgeoning era of prosperity and abundance. This post-war affluence that dawned upon society set the stage for a paradigm shift in mass consumption patterns. And so consumers within the US and eventually globally sent a resounding message to the business community, the very same message that you and I send today. And that is, we demand more goods on a larger and faster scale. And so, as it is their nature as businesses, in their pursuit for greater profits, businesses sought innovative ways to match this growing appetite for mass consumption. And my dear friends, it led to 2 things. Number 1, it accelerated the automation of production processes. And 2, it increased the demand for electrical energy, the very energy that today is largely produced across the world from the burning of fossil fuels. But I am here to tell you, my good friends, that what was true for mass consumption within the mid-20th century is also true today. And that is, as consumers, we have the power to drive the decisions that businesses make. We all know that the impacts of climate change are accelerating daily, triggering a cascade of tipping points, including the rapid melting of ice sheets and ice shelves, the relentless deforestation within the Amazonia, and the increasing unpredictability of ocean circulation, just to name a few. In addition to this, the ambitions we need to see from high-income countries in mobilizing resources to assist the most vulnerable economies in adapting and mitigating to this climate crisis is greatly lacking. But can I tell you that as consumers, we have the power to drive change? In economics, we learned that in the basic economic model, there are 3 key sectors: businesses, governments, and consumers. But what fascinates me the most is that consumers are the owners of the factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And so what that tells me and what that tells you is that our power extends merely beyond our power to purchase more goods and services. Our power is more than just the things that we can acquire and attain. We hold the very foundation upon which businesses make decisions. We hold the reins to change. And so the number one question is, how do we properly exercise this power? How do we influence businesses to begin implementing sustainable practices? Well, I propose three things. Firstly, we must redefine wealth and affluence. Secondly, we must restructure business models by redirecting the factors of production. And thirdly, we must break against the cycle of systematic inertia. Within high-income countries like the United States and Canada, the average person emits 30 times more than an individual from a low-income country. 30 times more. And so this stark imbalance, where high-income and upper-middle-income countries contribute disproportionately to global emissions, really challenges our vision for a fair and equitable world. But it is time for us to question the societal norm that links excessive consumption to prosperity. It is time for us to redefine wealth. Wealth should not just be based on the quantitative aspects of life and on what we can attain or acquire, but I believe it should largely be based on the quality of life. In addition to this, our purchasing power can be a force of good. By purchasing more eco-friendly products, we send a profound message to high executives as well as to shareholders. We are sending the message that this is not only responsible, but it is essential for our collective survival. Secondly, we must restructure business models by redirecting the factors of production. As owners of the factors of production, as consumers, we play a very pivotal role in the decision that businesses make. We contribute laboring skills as high-level executives, and we contribute financial capital as shareholders. I have no doubt that if I was supposed to ask for a show of hands, many individuals across this room would raise their hand to indicate that they are investors on the stock market. I also have no doubt that many of us in here will move on to become highly prominent and influential people within society. But my dear friends, can I tell you that it is with this influence we can truly drive change. We can truly influence businesses to begin making the right decisions. It is time for us to hold businesses accountable that rely on superficial corporate social responsibility efforts. For example, some businesses may be donors of major environmental causes, or they may be sponsors of environmental events, but are yet to strategically make decisions in implementing sustainable practices that will have the community, the economy, as well as the business thrive. And so it is time for businesses to embrace Professor Michael Porter's concept of creating shared value, a principle that speaks to businesses being able to pursue financial success while also creating great societal benefits. And finally, we must break against the cycle of systematic inertia. Often portrayed as a looming, frightening specter, climate change is also greatly associated with futuristic goals. when we assess all the climate action goals that are set by governments across the world, many of them are set for 2030, 2050, even 2070, which in my opinion sets a psychological barrier between the immediate actions that are needed and our present lives. As we all know, we are dealing with so many more challenges. It is time for us as consumers to let go of the status quo that, oh, it is up to the businesses and the governments to make the right decisions. As consumers and as the owners of the factors of production, the change starts with us. And so with these three proposals, we can create a great domino effect, where as consumers, we influence businesses, and businesses, which brings investments and also creates jobs, influences governments. And governments can then take the necessary actions in policy, in driving change. It is a domino effect where each sector catalyzes the other to change. But in order for us to really see this as possible, we have to assess what's happening right now across our world. Our world is at a very prominent and crucial time, where so many local communities across the world are already implementing sustainable practices and adaptive measures at the grassroots level in combating against climate change. But as consumers, we can drive systematic changes at national and global levels. But in order for us to see this with hope, we must take inspiration from the timeless story of the Quechua people, the story of the Little Hummingbird, a story which personally resonates with me as a Jamaican, because back home, the national hummingbird, which we call the swallowtail hummingbird, or the doctor bird, is our national animal. And so there was once a little hummingbird living within a forest, and one day this forest set ablaze. All the other animals flee in fear of their lives and of the destruction of their homes. But this little hummingbird could not fly away. No, no. This little hummingbird had to take matter into its own hands. And so the hummingbird decided that it was going to fly back and forth from a nearby pond, picking up droplets of water in its beak and dropping it on the fire, hoping to make some difference. The other animals stood afar off, and they laughed and mocked the hummingbird. And they all shouted, "What difference can you make?" And the hummingbird stopped in its flight, turned to the other animals and said, "I am doing the best I can." Despite its minuscule size, the hummingbird relentlessly makes efforts to actually create some change, no matter how futile or small it may seem. Now imagine if all of us were to embrace such a spirit. Imagine if all of us were to fervently be committed in playing our unique roles in combating this climate crisis. It would greatly reshape the trajectory of our world. They say to make a fist, it takes all 5 fingers, a proper fist. Not 1 finger, not 2, not 3, not 4, but all 5. And so, my dear friends, join me as we embark on this transformative journey, where we make decisions that not only aligns with our values and emotions, but decisions that will lead to the regeneration of our planet, our only home. Thank you.